Hello and welcome to Help Yourself ME CFS. I'm talking today about how to effectively rest. I had such problems resting properly. I couldn't sleep. My mind was very tense and uneasy and uncomfortable. My brain was full of automatic thoughts. So when I lay down to rest, it wasn't really very restful at all. So this delayed, I'm sure, my healing. So what I did for my body to help that feel more calm was I changed the foods that I ate. So specifically things that would heighten my stress response or nervous system or excite it. So things like caffeine I removed and alcohol and sugary things. They are things that are going to get you up and going and ready, but you know your stress response is stuck on, so you need to remove those stimulants. Also incorporating supplements. So there are lots of supplements and herbs that can support your nervous system and help it calm down. So I'm not going to suggest certain supplements because you can read about them and I'm not an expert in those things, but I know that I did take vitamin B complex for quite some time and magnesium supplements and zinc, and there will be a lot more that I'm sure experts will tell you can be helpful. There's also things that you can take to support your adrenal system and herbs that will help your nervous system calm down. So I know I took something that had lemon balm in and a chamomile, but there's many other things, and I'll leave it to you to have a look at that to see what suits you or to get some proper advice on it. Movement is key, and I've talked about that before, but if your muscles and body is in the fight or flight response, it will be tense and ready for action even though you feel like you've got no energy. You need to disperse that energy in some way, and movement is an ideal way. I remember I would lie in my bed and I would tense all my muscles like this, which at first seemed counterintuitive. But what it does is when you then relax, you seem to relax even more. So you tense up all the muscles of your body for a few seconds and then you relax and you seem to relax further. And I would do that 3 times and that would often just make me feel much more comfortable. It's called progressive relaxation. You can probably Google meditations that will talk you through progressive relaxation with one muscle group at a time, and meditations, guided meditations and apps that have things that will, gentle music and things that will talk you through things are really useful because you can just switch it on and follow. It gives your mind something to latch onto, and physically it's going to help you relax. I remember using the Calm app, but anything on YouTube, it'll be peppered with all sorts of different guided meditations, and the beauty of them is that you don't have to lead it yourself. So if your brain is all over the place, you can just rest on that voice rather than having to work your own way through doing your muscle groups. But it's very individual and it's what suits you, I'm sure. Getting my mind to relax was even more difficult because I felt like it was just this storm cloud of activity that I had no control over. And I felt very much like I was just in the middle of it. I started to read books by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, which particularly focuses on just being in the present moment, and almost finding space from that busy mind. And I found that I would just have the book by my bed and I would read just sometimes a paragraph, and it would really help just bring me back into a more peaceful place. I also had Practicing the Power of Now, which was a smaller book and just give you little snippets which actually I could cope with better, so I didn't have to focus for long. But reading inspirational or calming words is great. Also, there's so many YouTube videos from Eckhart himself and other spiritual teachers that you can just have on in the background, and as I say, will help you just rest your mind on those words and will bring you into a much calmer place. I also used to, like a mantra I suppose, just pick a word, and it was a word that I wanted to feel, a positive word, and it might have been calm or peace or still, all very nourishing and comfortable words, and I would just repeat it in my mind. So again, that was giving my mind something to do, to just focus on that word. But when you do that, when you see the word and you also, your mind starts to wander onto what it feels to be calm, what it means to be calm, what would calm feel like. You're almost soothing yourself. Well, you are soothing yourself with that word, and it helps to bring that about in your being. It's lovely, and it's just a way, it's like, I suppose, a meditation. Meditations use mantras and all sorts of different things to focus on, just really to be present with what is now and to calm the mind. I also used to focus and feel the body. It's a really effective way to calm the mind. So one way is like a body awareness meditation, where I think it's called Yoga Nidra actually, but I'm not sure about that. Someone like with a guided meditation, or you can just do it yourself. You start at one point in your body, your big toe or your thumb, and you just feel the sensations in that part of the body, and it might be tingling or vibration or tiny movements. And if you can't feel anything, just imagine what it might feel like, and then you move on to the next part of the body, and you just do this slowly, feeling each part of the body in turn. Really soothing, really calming, and it also gets you back in tune with your body. When we have racing thoughts and we're all about thinking, planning, organising, we're very much in our heads, and we sometimes lose touch with our body. And this helps to really just bring us back to the here and now and the present moment, which is very soothing and helps you feel more safe. Ultimately, your stress response is triggered because some part of you feels unsafe and that you need protection. And part of resting and doing these kind of practices is about reaffirming that all is well and you are safe, and your nervous system can calm down so that your body can heal. So it's about finding what's right for you. I'll just see if there's anything else on my notes. Yes, environment. It's very hard to rest properly in an environment where you either feel unsafe, or you feel uncomfortable, or it's cluttered, or it's too busy, or it's too noisy. So your environment is so important, so that you can hopefully find somewhere where you feel restful. At least if the rest of the if the rest of the house is full of stuff, if you can just make your bedroom more peaceful, at least you can then retreat there and rest better. This also includes screens and electrical equipment that might be around. I will talk specifically about environment and screens and its effect, but I found very much that I was very sensitive to computers and mobile phones and Wi-Fi and televisions, could only tolerate them for a very small amount of time. And we know, of course, with research about what the blue light does to our brain. So we're advised, aren't we, not to use our phone or screens or TV directly before we go to bed, because it disrupts and it keeps the brain awake. It wakes up the brain. And it's not a good idea before you go to sleep. But how many of us look at our phones before we go to bed, or have them next to us for our alarms, or watch telly in bed? It may be affecting you. For some people it might not, but when we're very sensitive, and people with chronic fatigue and ME certainly are sensitive to lots of things, you just need to cut lots of stuff out and then gradually reintroduce things just to see how they affect you, and stay away from things that have a detrimental effect. I wrote here as well, find a sedentary hobby. So what I mean by that is resting doesn't always just mean lying horizontal, sleeping or doing nothing. You can rest by doing something that you enjoy as well. And I've just spoken about televisions and screens and things, but if you use them for things that nourish you, of course they can be really useful. So if you wanted to sit down and watch a really lovely film, that's quite restful, it's quite peaceful, isn't it? I used to do jigsaws, and what I found was that I needed to do something. I was bored. I needed to do something, but my energy levels wouldn't allow me to do anything that involved activity. My brain wouldn't allow me to do anything that involved anything, concentration or creativity. I couldn't really do any of that. I couldn't read for very long, couldn't focus or concentrate. So I got some jigsaws, and I might just do them for 10 minutes, but it was like immediately gratifying to find the right piece and put it in. And it's just about finding what suits you. You know, some people like to paint, to knit, whatever. So your body is resting. You're doing something you enjoy, and you're resting your mind on that activity, and again, being present. So that's all I've got to say about that. It's about finding a lovely balance between activity and rest, one that supports your health and your healing and your recovery. Thanks for listening.